Welcome to SORMAG's Writer Café, where we share the real writer's life over a cup of friendship, sprinkled with laughter and wisdom. My name is LaShaunda Hoffman, and I'm your host. This episode's sponsor is Using Canva for Book Promotion Video Series. Have you wanted to try Canva.com but didn't know where to start? LaShaunda Hoffman created a series for you. Inside the series, you will learn the basics of Canva, how to create a biographic, a quote graphic, a book blurb graphic, an animated graphic, and a bookmark. These are graphics you can use to promote you and your books. The video will take you step by step to help you create your own graphics you can use daily. Check the show notes for the link to Using Canva for Book Promotion Video Series and start creating graphics like a social butterfly. Sitting at the cafe today with me is Qiana Davis and MJ Fievre. I know I just flowered that all up. Welcome, ladies. How are you guys doing today?
Wonderful.
All right. So I gave you all the instructions of what we're going to do, and then I forgot to tell you how the podcast runs. So here we go. Each of you will give us an intro of yourself. I'd like you to do your own bio, tell us a little bit about you, who you are, what you write, and then a little bit about your current book. And if you have time, read an excerpt of your book. If you don't have your book with you, then that's okay. You don't have to read an excerpt. Just let me know, and we'll move on to the next author. And we are going to start with Qiana today. Ms. Qiana, can you introduce yourself and tell us about your book?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Qiana Davis. I am an early childhood educator. I am a wife, and I am a mother of 3 young men. Very excited to be here. Thank you again for having me. I just published my first children's book, December 4th, 2020. It's been a dream fulfilled for me. It's something that I've always wanted to do as a teacher. You know, I read hundreds of books, and it's just always been a dream of mine to have my own book that I get to read to my students. And I fulfilled that dream during a pandemic, nonetheless. But I'm super excited. Love is Me is the title, and I can't wait to share an excerpt with you all.
Okay, read us an excerpt, please.
All right. So Love is Me is a book that's celebrating how children see love, how they experience love, and it's also a book that's birthed from my classroom. You know, I do affirmations with my students every day, and from those affirmations, I added 2 of them in the book. Love is Me. It is an affirmation that I have my students do each day just to remind themselves that they are loved and that they are lovable. And the affirmation goes, love is me, love is you. Love is in everything that we do. From the top of my head to the soles of my feet, I love every part of me. We give ourselves a big, big hug, and we say, I love me. I'm as special as can be. Love is me, love is you. That's my favorite part of the book.
That is so cute. I am going to be a new grandmother soon, and so I'm looking at all children's books, and I will be ordering that for my little grandbaby. That is so cute. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Miss MJ, you ready?
I am. Thanks again for having me. My name is MJ, and I am originally from Haiti. I moved to the U.S. when I was 21, and I've been here ever since. I am now in Orlando. It's pretty recent. I moved during the pandemic, but it's been very good for my writing because it's so much calmer here. I write for different age levels. Most of my books are for young adults, but I also write for adults and for children as well. Most of my books are self-empowerment books, although I do delve into fiction as well. I'm really excited to chat with you guys tonight. As an excerpt, I'll read the introduction from my book, Badass Black Girl, Quotes, Questions, and Affirmations for Teens. Dear Badass Black Girl, you are a true warrior who inherited the strength, courage, wisdom, love, and dignity of our ancestors. You stand on their shoulders, carrying a history of triumph. Yes, it is true. You also still carry some of the pain of yesterday's Black heroines, these creators, innovators, and agents of change. And you are faced with the tremendous struggle of the modern girl of color. But make no mistake, you are strong and you can conquer whatever challenges this world hands you. Your very existence defies history. Never forget those who broke the unjust rules society once used to limit their progress, those who fought hard to get you to this moment, those who gave light so others could find a way through dark times. Because of them, you get to walk into a restaurant through the front door, sit at the front of the bus, and cast a vote for leaders who represent your ideals. Walk in the freedom they secured for your sake. Be proud of your rich skin, and may your hair be a crown that stands tall. Be proud of your deep-rooted cultures. Be proud of the power of those who came before you, as the strength of generations will propel you forward and carry you through difficulties.
Beautiful, beautiful.
That was good. That was really good. Thank you. Thank you. So my first question for you ladies is, when did you decide to become a writer?
For me, I did not decide to become a writer, honestly. I am a teacher, but I'm an early childhood teacher. I teach pre-K. And it never was a goal of mine to be a writer, but I had this story, and I just had a story that I wanted to share, right? I wanted to be able to have all children see a story that talks about love and also a book that they can see themselves in. So it was important for me to create something that I haven't been able to find. As I said, I read hundreds of books throughout the year, and it's always been such a struggle to find stories that have children that look like the children that I serve, and that is Black children, as well as Latino children. And that was my goal in writing the story, is to create a story that have Black characters as the main characters in the book. So that was my purpose for writing the story, so that children can see in the books that they read.
Okay. Thank you. What about you, MJ?
First, let me say that I loved Qiana's answer, because I was telling a friend this morning that it wasn't until I was 16 or 17 that I finally read a novel that had a Black lead as a character, a Black female lead. So the need for multicultural books has been around for such a long time. And whenever I meet authors who consciously work on creating characters that kids can relate to, Black kids can relate to, I'm just at awe. So Qiana, thank you for your book. And it's so exciting to know that you're a teacher and that the kids will get to hear the story directly from you. That's great.
Thank you.
And
you as well.
Thank you. And to answer the question, I started writing when I was pretty young. First, I was a reader, and I think that the first time I consciously decided, I want to start writing or to try writing was one time I was reading a book and I didn't like the ending of the book. And I found myself writing an alternate ending. And my sister, who's always been my biggest cheerleader, she read my ending and she was pretty thrilled. And she told me, you should write more. Of course, I thought about it because I knew she cared about me, and if she saw something in me, it probably was there. And after a little while, I got a little bolder in school, started writing more than what was expected. I remember for one of my teachers' birthday, I wrote a story that I gifted her for the occasion. And little by little, I really discovered a taste for stories that were surprising. So I started writing a lot of horror and adventure stories because I really wanted to get a reaction out of people. I have to say that the moment I decided to write empowerment books was in 2010, a little while after the earthquake in Haiti, when I was so shaken by what was happening in my country that I wanted my writing to matter a little bit more than it had. Yes, it was fun to write those fictional stories, but I wanted to write with more purpose, something that could actually change a life deeply. And that's when I started writing writing texts that were focused on empowerment and helping other people. So yeah, that's how it went. Thank you for asking.
Thank you. Both good answers for that. What I love about the books nowadays is that our children do get to see themselves in the books. I grew up reading about white children. I was trying to remember what was the first time I ever read a book that had an African American in it. And I'm thinking of Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, many, many moons ago. I think that was probably one of the first kids' books I read. And I think I read Maya Angelou's book, too. But I probably was like just before I was a teenager. So that's a long time to be able to not see yourself in a book. But I was not brainwashed to believe that it was not going to happen. I just figured I just hadn't found the books yet. I didn't know that they weren't right. They weren't publishing them at the time. And it always gets me when someone says that they can't relate. And I'm like, we had no choice. We had to relate to the books that we had or we didn't read, And as I tell people all the time, my favorite book series as a kid was Little House on the Prairie. And, of course, there was no little black girls on the prairie back then. They probably were. We just didn't get our stories told. I do believe they were.
Right.
I do believe they were. And I think I might have to write a story now that has inspired me. But I love Laura Ingalls. I love growing up with her. She reading her book. She was a little girl, like 5 years up till she was grown and got married. And I identified with it. I loved it. I tried to get my kid to read it. It wasn't action packed enough for her. But
I used to love the shows.
I love the show
I love
too.
The show too.
I love the show so much. But I hate when people say they can't relate because I'm like, you just don't want to. That's the thing. Because you can relate. You can be, if you want us to relate to cats and dogs being people.
Absolutely.
You can relate. You can relate.
You.
Yeah, and that's speaking of that, I had read a statistic, and they said that the percentage in children's books of animal figures are higher than it is of black characters. Like I believe black characters is like such a small, minute percentage.
Yeah, about 2 or 3%. Yeah, I read that article too, and I was like, wow. And we're not, and we can't relate, but a dog and cat you can relate to. So yeah, that's one of my pet peeves there. What is the hardest thing about writing? What was the hardest thing about writing your book?
For me, it wasn't hard at all to write the book because when I tell you it was nothing but God that gave me the words. It wasn't. It was literally God that gave me the words. It was written in one day. It was written in one day because, again, the words in the book are words that I use with my students every day, right? Those affirmations and just questions that I ask my students, right? So it wasn't hard at all. I think the most difficult part, well, I guess we'll probably get into that later, but the book itself wasn't hard. It was what was hard was me finally believing that I could do it, right? Was me finally stepping out of my comfort zone and realizing that everything that I need is already inside of me, and to stop doubting myself, to stop having these insecurities about whether, my story would be good enough, if people would actually buy the book, just all of those insecurities and fears and doubts. That's what was the hardest thing for me. And that's why I say, the book has been on my vision board for about 7 years, about 7 years. And that speaks to, just how much fear can hold you back. Fear will literally just paralyze you. And now that, the book is here, I'm like, well, I just can't believe that I allowed those doubts and insecurities to stop me for so long. So that was the hardest part for me. It's just finally realizing that, I am enough and I can do this.
Qiana, oh my God, you just inspired me so much. Thank you for sharing that. I have 6 books in the closet, and when you said your book was on your vision board for 7 years, I was like, okay, I'm okay. I'm normal. Because as a person who deals with fear, I had those fears, and I have a published book, but the fiction side of me is scared to death to release. And so I'm so glad you shared that, because sometimes I think I'm the only one who feels like that, and I'm like, why am I so, why do I feel like that? But it's hard to let go. It's hard to believe, and I'm so glad you said that, because when I published my nonfiction book, that's what I said to myself. I was like, man, you just been, but I guess with fiction it's a different animal, and I'm like, what if they don't like it? What if they hate it? With the nonfiction, it's helping people, but fiction is all about, the readers are tough.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that scares me to death. But I'm so glad you shared that, because I'm like, okay, she just pushing you a little more off the fence that, let me, when I get off this podcast, go finish working on your book, because
you can do it.
Yeah, I can do it. Yes, I need to hear that. What about you, MJ?
Well, for fiction, it was so exciting that I didn't really think about the difficulties. It did require some discipline and the ability to receive negative feedback. But, it was all in good fun, and I enjoyed it. I actually felt the most vulnerable when writing nonfiction, because there's no longer that veil. You have to be you. You have to be true to yourself. My first nonfiction book was actually a memoir about growing up in Haiti, and I was really forward with what was going on at home and the violence at home and in the streets. And I just felt naked the entire time I was reading it, and when the book was published, I felt even more vulnerable. So I think that's where the difficulty lay, the idea of just being exposed. It was pretty intimidating.
I think the exposing is the scariest part. It's just like, oh. So that's my next question is, because you kind of alluded to that, what is the toughest criticism given to you as an author?
Let's see. The only criticism that I have received so far, again, the book is still new, right? It was just published December of last year. But I really wasn't expecting them to say this, but they looked at the book. They loved it, but they said that they wish the book had children of all races in the book. And I was just like, huh? She felt that the book would do better if it had children of all races. And I explained to her that I wonder if when we see books with children on the white cover, on a children's book, and there's only white children on the cover, I wonder if people actually say, "Oh, it'd be better if there was some black children on the cover." You know what I mean? Like, I've never heard someone say something like that, And I was just like, I was taken aback by it. You know what? You're going to get criticism, right? You're going to get criticism. But I'm like, the reason that I even published the book is because, as an educator, I don't see enough stories with black covers, with black children on the cover. So that was my main purpose of even publishing the book, and to have someone say, oh, there needs to be all different colors of children in the book. I'm like, okay. So that was like the biggest criticism for me. I was just like, okay. But I kept it moving.
I'm working on a middle grade book, and the one of my beta readers said that she couldn't tell what the colors the kids were, and would I have all nationalities? And it was a good question, and I was like, well, I in my head they were different colors, but it didn't come across on the pages right. And so it made me think about, you know what, I'm not going to make them that different colors. They're going to all be African American in different shades, because we come in different shades. And I have a reason why they're going to be all that, but we are always told to integrate when we're segregated. We're always segregated, but we're always told to integrate when it's us. And I'm like, I love the reason why you decided to do your book. It wasn't to integrate. It was because we've been segregated for so long. You wanted the children to see that, hey, do you have books that look like you? Now, maybe your second book might be integrated.
And to celebrate that. And
celebrate that, right. And so maybe the next book might have more people in it because you're ready to, branch out. But right now you want the chocolate children to see the chocolate children.
That's right. I look at all the books in my classroom. I look at all the books in my classroom, and I'm like, I wonder, did these authors that wrote these books with all these, animal characters, or these books that only have white children characters in them, did the author say, maybe I should put some black children in this book? I don't think so.
Because they're writing for their peers, and their peers don't look like us. And that's how come the books have been the way they are and the way that the publishing company is, because they don't see us, or if they do see us, they see us in a really bad image that you don't want those type of books out there that look like that. Are you going to write about the protesting and the shooting up in your community? No, because that's not what I want to remember by. If some people that want to write urban stories like that, but that's not. I live urban stories. I don't want my children to read that. The legacy that I leave behind. Everybody has to decide what kind of legacy they want to leave behind with books.
That's it.
And because I'm sure Laura Ingalls Wilder didn't think that her books was going to be on for hundreds of years, but or that a little black girl was going to read her books. She probably wasn't even thinking a little black girl would ever read her books. But when I think about books, I think about her because I think, her books last forever, And that's what I want. My stories, whenever I can convince myself to get them out there, but I want my story.
You will.
To that somebody talking about the stuff that they loved as a kid, and they can go, well, I read LaShaunda's middle grade books when I was in the 5th or 6th grade, and I loved them. I could see me, and to me, that's the best compliment you can get from a child, that they saw themselves. Because that's what I want. When I realized that I wanted to write middle grade books, it was because when I was in middle grade, they didn't have those books. And I was like, I write romance, and when I started writing romance, it was because they didn't have any African American romances. So you tell you how long I've been writing, but I'm glad that you chose that. That was the people that you wanted to reach. And everybody as a writer has a choice of who they want to reach. And no one has the right to tell you that you need to add somebody else to it, because that's not the reach they want for you.
And you know what? Not even that. It's like, okay, but the book is not just for black children because there are black children on the cover. This book is for all children.
Exactly.
White children need to see more books of us, of black characters on the book. Okay, they need to.
Yeah, they need to see that black kids are just like them. That we're no different. We just a different shade, and that's what they need to know. That we're not different. We like exactly what you like. We love like you love. So a white child would need to pick that book up and say, hey, let me see what's going on with this book. Oh yeah.
But the thing is, unfortunately, many of the kids, they do what they see their parents do. And a lot of non-black parents, when they see those books with non-white kids on them, they just assume that they're not the audience, which is ridiculous when you really think about it, because I don't see a book as a black person who's been mostly reading books with white characters her entire life. I don't see a book and figure, oh, that's not me because I'm not on the cover. But when you're not considered, quote unquote, a minority, you have the privilege of seeing a book and thinking, oh, that's probably not me. And that's what you were talking about earlier, LaShaunda. We didn't have that privilege of looking at a book and saying, oh, I can't relate to this. Because we had to relate because there were no other books.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know. It's sad because we have always had to integrate. That's the only word I can think of. Always, and other races don't have to if they don't want to. We didn't have a choice. So, what about you, MJ? Did you have a tough criticism?
I wasn't thinking about this aspect necessarily until Qiana brought it up. But when Badass Black Girl first came out, I did get a lot of nasty messages on social media. I just ignored some of them, shared the rest just to show people what I was going through. But people were mad that it wasn't just called Badass Girl, that it was called Badass Black Girl. And I was accused of being divisive and borderline racist because I wasn't inclusive enough. But what people don't understand is that growing up, I never had a book, a self-empowerment book that I could totally identify with. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were a lot of self-help books out there that were very powerful, but they never talked about things that I was dealing with. Things such as, how do you deal with racism? How do you deal with the fact that you feel that you're not as beautiful as the people on TV because the people on TV look nothing like you? How do you deal with colorism? There were no books to tell me about those things, and I really wanted to write a book that would address issues that are specific to Black kids. If you are not Black, you have so many books out there that you can get and read and find a solution to your problems. But we're dealing with a lot with a difficult history, a difficult legacy, and we also need to be educated. And when I say we, I'm talking about the audience here specifically, be educated about the beauty that there is in being Black. And there was absolutely no book like this when I was growing up. So I wasn't about to just write Badass Girl. I had to write Badass Black Girl.
Yep, you did. You did. So what is the biggest surprise that you experienced after becoming a writer, a published writer?
Whew. I think the biggest surprise is realizing that getting the book out was the easy part, right? The biggest thing for me now is selling the book and getting it out into the masses, into bookstores and various platforms and marketing, and like that's it. Like really selling the book. That has definitely been the biggest thing for me, because I realized that the minute you are responsible to sell your book, and the minute you stop selling it, your book doesn't sell. So you have to constantly be, marketing and figuring out ways to go to various events and bookstores, online marketplaces, word of mouth, just doing everything, grinding, hustling, doing whatever it takes to really get your book out there. That has been the most challenging part. But I'm, really just changing my mindset, because I was always saying like, oh goodness, this marketing is so hard, and I'm not good at marketing. But I'm realizing that again, when we affirm, our words have so much power. So we can't keep saying that, oh, I'm not a marketer, oh, I'm not good at this. No, I can do it. I will do it, and I will market my book, and I will get it out there. So just changing your mindset, and just again knowing that you can do it and that you are enough. Researching, finding ways. YouTube has some great videos about marketing your book and just ways to get it out there.
I love that you know that you have to change your mindset. And I like what you said about saying the words to affirm yourself. One of the things that I teach my client is to find the fun in promotion, because when you find the fun stuff to do, then you will do promotion. We always overwhelm ourselves because we're trying to do everything that everybody else is doing, and it's not fun. When it's not fun, then you're not going to do it. One of the things that I loved about Clubhouse was that it was fun. It is so much fun. And if you're not having fun on Clubhouse, then you are in the wrong rooms, So
right.
I always say find the fun stuff to do. Write down 3 things that you absolutely love to do when it comes to promotion, and those are the things that you do. You don't have to do that other stuff because it's boring. You don't want to do it, or it gets on your last nerve. If posting is something that you don't want to do, then find something other than posting. Maybe going live is it. Maybe you're like, okay, I'm gonna do some read some excerpts of my book every other night. That's a post, but it's also video for people to come back and look at. Most times posts just go away, but a video stays live in the feed for a while because people are watching it over and over again. So I always say find that fun stuff. If you having a hard time with promotion, then that's because you're not doing the fun thing. So, if you like doing podcasts, then go do some more podcasts, because that will get you in front of even more people, and you don't have to do a lot of work other than say, hey, and talk about your book. So find the fun stuff. What about you, MJ?
Qiana has such great answers that I keep piggybacking on what she says. But yes, when I was younger, or at least earlier in my career, I thought that, my only job was to write the book. I had this idea that you find a publisher and then they take care of everything else. All you have to do is sit behind your desk and be a writer, right? And it was quite shocking to me to realize how much legwork that writers have to do, and not just self-published writers, but writers with publishers, whether you're published traditionally or through other venues. It's a lot of work, and I do agree that you need to enjoy the process. If you don't enjoy the process, then it's going to be difficult to be successful. Something else that surprised me is how big the writing community is. Once you start talking about book and connecting with other people, you realize that there are so many kindred spirits out there, and that is surprising and awesome. I always felt so lonely just writing, because it is a solitary activity. You just have to sit down on that chair and make sure the writing happens. But it's so beautiful when you can share it with other people and talk about craft and talk about techniques. Look at us now, just having a conversation about how we make it work as writers. And I know, LaShaunda, that your books will be out soon.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the push. I will say that one of my favorite things about writing is the community that I built because of my writing. When I started writing, I was 16, so I didn't know anything about a community. And then I picked it back up when I was in the Navy, but I was writing alone. And when I probably in my late 20s, I moved back home, and I created a writers group with my mom and another friend of ours, and we started a writers group, and we would meet the first Friday of the month. And man, it was so wonderful to talk to somebody who got writing, because I've been doing it probably about 10 years alone, reading the writer's crafts, reading the writer's digest and stuff like that, and then to actually talk to somebody. None of us was published, but it was kind of cool to just talk to people about, writing. So I always tell people that find your tribe. Even if it's just one person who gets that you write and that they write, and you guys can talk and you can moan to each other, you can groan to each other, because it's a lonely business, and especially if you're dealing, like with me, dealing with fear. You ladies are pushing me past my fears. If I just waddle with it by myself, I would never get past it. But if I got somebody who has dealt with fear, and she's like, hey, I had my book on my vision board for 7 years, and it's out now, and I'm like, okay, I can see that. I can see it happening for me, and sometimes that's all you need is somebody to encourage you and say, okay, you can do this. You can move. You can write these books. You can get it out there. But, if you're doing it alone and you're not encouraging yourself, it's a hard, lonely path, and I don't recommend that for any writer. I really truly believe you should have you get a writer buddy. Get you a writer buddy. If you can't find you a writing group, get you a writer buddy. Best thing in the world for you.
Yes.
Yeah, I also found a great Facebook community of children's authors that are so supportive and give ideas and suggestions. So, yeah, Facebook has been a great tool as well for me.
What's the name of your group? Plug the group.
It's not my group, but it's a group on Facebook that I found, and they're very supportive communities. Black children's authors.
Oh, okay. Right.
Awesome
That's
group.
good.
Awesome. Thousands of people in that group.
Oh,
Children's books by African American authors and illustrators.
Oh, okay, great. I think I'm in that group. I think I might be. What is your views on social media for book marketing?
Oh, gosh, it's a must. It's a must. I have to say, before the book was even published, December 4th, I started with promotion, just kind of taking everybody on the journey with me, letting them know that, I have the book coming out. And then once I received the book in the mail, I did the whole unboxing of the book. Once I actually got the book on the website, I took everyone through the process. So I think that helps to get your followers invested, right? They feel like they're a part of your journey, and they support you. And they share and encourage you as well. So social media is a big part of it, and it also helps when you start posting just information about your book. I would post that if someone shared a picture with me with the book, I would share it on my social media. A review, I would share that. And each time I would post, and even now, that's my goal, is to post at least once a day or every other day. I usually get a sale every time I post. So it is definitely beneficial. And I think it's a must in this climate, of COVID especially. And even when COVID is over, social media is definitely a good platform.
I'm so happy to hear that you started before your book released. So many people wait till the book release and then wonder why they're getting crickets. So I'm so happy you shared that journey with your readers to inspire them to know that your book is coming out there. That's my first tip to authors when they're writing a book, is talk about it while you're writing it, because by the time it comes out, if they remember, they'll be eager to support you. But if you wait till the book releases, go, hey, my book releases, they're like, yeah, okay. They like, well, who are you and why should we care? So, I'm so glad to hear you say that you were building your relationships before the book came out. That's excellent. I'm just super proud of you. You've been doing really good. Getting out there for that new book. That is so good, because it's so hard for readers to check out a new book, and then see you got a tough audience because you're dealing with parents who got to say, look, this is going to be for my baby. It's got to be right now.
That's it.
You're dealing with the librarians, and they're like, hey, we're very picky when it comes to our books. So, that audience is hard. But if you can reel them in before the book comes out and they're excited about it with you, then you have a better chance than trying to wait till the last minute and trying to convince them. Now they're already, when's it coming? How many can I order? They're excited with you. What about you, MJ? What are your views on social media for book marketing?
I like social media for book marketing. I think that people just need to figure out which one of the platforms works best for what they need. For instance, I usually recommend, if you're in the business world or writing exclusively for adults, LinkedIn is one social media platform that you really want to be on, because that's where you're going to find most business people and most adults. If you're writing for a younger audience, for sure TikTok is the new platform that is really popular among the very, well, not the very young, but younger than I am for sure. Instagram still works for most audiences, I think, and Facebook is slightly older. So I always tell people to make sure you do some research to see what exactly works. I used to really like Facebook, and I still use my personal page on Facebook, but I get much more traction on Instagram. So I use Instagram mostly because that's really where my readers are, and I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm not on TikTok. I'm just scared at the very idea of adding another platform, but I hear that a lot of writers are doing pretty well on TikTok. It allows them to be creative in another way, where they get to create fun videos to talk about the book and stuff like that. So whatever floats your boat, really, and whatever brings results, I'm all for it.
You said some really good things about this is where my readers are. That is so important when it comes to social media platforms. And like you said, you can't be on everything. And people try to be on everything, and then that's, again, we were talking about overwhelm. That's how you overwhelm yourself, trying to be on everything. But if you are on the places that your readers are, then that's where you want to hang out. Now, for you, MJ, do a survey and see if your readers are on there. You can ask your people on Instagram, hey, you guys hanging out on TikTok, what you think about TikTok? If you get crickets, then no, I don't need to be slinging over there. But there is a huge book community on TikTok. I got on there because I'm a platform girl. I just love platforms. So I like to try different places because I believe that and sometimes it's overwhelming for some people, but I like to try different platforms because I like to meet new people. And the bad part about staying on one platform or two platforms is that after a while you've overstayed your welcome. If you're not getting the engagement, here's what I tell my clients when they're on platforms. If you're on these platforms and you're getting the engagement that you want, you see the book sales that you want, then you're fine. Keep rocking it. Do it. Keep on doing what you're doing because it's working for you. But if you're getting that $2 royalty check and you don't like it, you want more royalties, then it's time to try something new. You can't stay hidden at Facebook and Instagram when all you're doing is making $2 because that's not working. That's the promotions is not working. The engagement is not working. You're not selling books. But if you are selling books, stay there and rock it till the moon comes down. But if you're not, then it's time to try something else. Go on TikTok and do you a couple of videos. I got on TikTok and I was like, I'm not dancing. I refuse to dance. I'm not dancing. But I am into creating videos. I love making the slideshow videos and putting some music to it. Trying to find the right music to go with it is so much fun for me. I love it. And so that's what I did. And the first time I got 2 people who looked at it. And then the next one I got like 500 views. I was like, okay, this is me. This is my stuff. And so, like I said, you got to find the fun stuff to do. I love making these videos, and when I share them to my community, I've had a couple of people contact me and go, okay, how much you charge for them videos? I'm like, I can't charge for videos because it's TikTok's music. I can't charge. So, I do the videos for my clients, and I could, that's part of the part of my package. I don't tell them I'm doing them. I just do them. But find platform that's fun that you want to try out. Clubhouse, I got on Clubhouse because I was like, well, what is this? And when I found out it was audio, which you could tell I love to talk, so I was like, it's right up my alley. But I have built a wonderful community on there of different people, so many amazing new authors that I've met. I never dreamed there was going to be a writers group, a writers community on TikTok. But there is a readers community on TikTok. And then I'm a TV person. There's a TV thing. There's a movie community. And everything that I love about the creative side is on not on TikTok, but on Clubhouse. And so it's just you just got to find what is it that you like to do, what is you want to do, and have fun at it. And if your readers are there, that's even better. I have sold so many books on Clubhouse because people are like, oh, you got a book? What is it about? Oh, it's about promotion? Let me get it. I haven't even said nothing. That's it. That's all I said. I haven't even done any promoting. This is, when you say you have a book and it's a book about promotion, well, where is it? How do I buy it? So I love that. So, it's so many different things to do on there, but find what you like to do and if you're, I always tell my clients, if you're not getting the results that you want from your book promotion, what do you have to do? You got to up your game. You got to try something new. And it's hard to try something new because we're so busy and we got this, we got that. But what's going to happen if you don't? you're not selling books. So which one you want to do? You're going to find some time so you can learn how to do this, and so you can start making some money. And look, I'm telling you, on all the platforms I'm on, I'm making money. So that's all I got to say.
Coin, cha-ching.
Yes, let's get this money bags. Let's get these money bags, people, because people out here making money. Look, on Clubhouse, they always talk about these 6-figure authors. I'm like, okay, I want to be that person. Right. Don't we want to make that kind of money? So how are you two getting book reviews?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
How are you getting book reviews? What are you doing?
Book reviews.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I have. Book reviews are tough. They are tough. I mean, when I first published in December, I literally was texting everyone that I knew that purchased my book, like, please don't forget to leave a review. Please, on Amazon, please leave a review. I was just doing it by hand. I do have an email list, reminders, email, but, even though I've a couple hundred books, we haven't 3 reviews. I mean, it's just really to get people to do reviews, and I'm just, I just have to keep on reminding.
I ask this question all the time because I'm hoping somebody has that red button that you push and all these reviews come. Nobody has it yet. I haven't gotten it yet. What about you, MJ?
Well, there's a lot of asking for sure, because even after people buy the book, they don't realize how important those reviews are, because they do affect the algorithm on Amazon. So I remind people all the time, and sometimes I will share reviews that other people have left, and that will encourage people to leave their own, thanking others profusely for their generosity always seems to get other people to want to be generous as well. So that's another way I've used social media for sure to request reviews. At some point, I created some additional materials that people who left reviews could go on the website and download. So if you left a review, you got and you let me know, you got a special code to download some special coloring pages that I had on the website, and that seemed to help as well. So it takes a lot of work, a lot of mini campaigns to get people to leave reviews. And sometimes it's not that they don't want to, but people are just busy. Sometimes we're a little lazy. I mean, I don't always leave reviews on other books either. So just nudging them from time to time goes a long way.
Absolutely love your idea of giving a little goodie for those who leave a review. That is an excellent, excellent tip. I think hopefully my listeners will take advantage of that. Getting reviews is probably the hardest things of writing, and the steps of writing, and it's because most of the time it's because we don't ask. So you always have to remember to ask, and do campaigns on it. A lot of us, I try to teach my clients to create campaigns. You ask once a month. You got to ask more than that. Once a week, ask. On the weekends is what I do. Put out there, hey, you reading this weekend? Have you read my book? Can you please write a review? And using that goodie is really great, because they'll be like, hey, what she got? You don't tell them what it is. You just say, hey, I got a goodie for you. So I love that. You don't tell them what they're going to get. You're just going to get a goodie for, ping me when your thing goes live, and I got something for you. And I think that's fantastic, because we got to give them some type of incentive to make them sit down and write a review, because it takes time to write a review, a really good review, but the thing about reviews is that readers use them. And so as writers, we were like, but readers actually look at them and go, I know for me, as a reader, I go to the 3 stars, and people are like, I don't know what 3 stars, but the 3-star reviewer writes the truth. And they tell you what that book is about. Is it worth buying? Is it not worth buying? The 5 stars and the 4-star people usually just writing a good review. They're just writing it because, they just want to write. But that 3 stars, most people hate 3 stars, but I think 3 stars are the most honest reviews that you can get, because that person doesn't have enough. They don't have to suck up to you. They're just going to say how they feel about the book. And most of the time, they really enjoyed it. 3 stars, most people take 3 stars as, that's bad, that's bad. But 5 and 4 means that you can improve as a writer. A 3-star teaches you how to improve as a writer. So look at those 3 stars. Sometimes they give you some good feedback that you'd be like, oh, wow. And sometimes they just say some wonderful stuff that you miss because it's a 3-star. This is from a book review, right? People get mad at me when we wrote 3 stars, and I'm like, 3 stars mean the book was good. They enjoyed it, And then for me, a 3-star means that I didn't stay up all night reading it. That's 5 stars for me. 3 stars is I took my time enjoying it. That's how as I was a reviewer for 10 years. But most authors, all they see is 5 and 4s, and they think that a 3 is worse. But 3 stars are the honest reviews, because 4 and 5, you just hyping people up. I think, but that's my opinion. That's why reviews are just opinions. It's somebody's opinion,
Yes.
So you can't take it with a grain of salt and say, okay, they were good or they were bad, All right, so my last question for you, can you believe we're almost at the end?
Oh, wow.
Great conversation at the cafe today. What advice would you give to an inspiring writer right now?
An inspiring writer. I would definitely tell them that first, to work on their mindset, to know that this being an author is a business. It's not just, writing the book and that's it. It's a business. You have to treat it as a business, and you have to know that it's going to take work in getting your book sold and marketing your book. Marketing your book is everything. Marketing and mindset.
That was absolutely great. Great. Man, you and MJ have given me so many great sound bites. I'm going to be working to death on this podcast.
Oh.
I'm learning how to do sound bites, and you guys have given some great ones. So look forward.
You're going to post, so
I'm going to post them so you can see them. Okay, yes, I'm going to work on these. This has been some great ones, so I'm going to definitely be using you guys. What about you, MJ? What's your advice?
Just remember that your voice matters. It's easy to think that, well, there are so many books being written, there are so many writers out there, what difference is my writing going to make? Well, it's going to make a difference because it's yours. It's authentic, it's all you, and your voice does matter. So I hope everyone remembers that. It doesn't matter that your story has been shared by many people. We still need to hear the way you say it. Particularly for those people who write nonfiction, and sometimes they feel that, maybe I want to write about my experience, but it doesn't compare to that other person's experience. Don't think like this. Just do you, because you matter.
Man, that was, oh, wow. That was deep there. Thank you so much for that, MJ. So you ladies have truly, I think this is my most inspired podcast I've done since 2015. This has been Wow, I'm going to listen to this a couple of more times because I need to hear all these words you ladies have been saying tonight. I really have. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Now, I did a podcast interview with an author named David L. So I am borrowing from him. I'm going to see if it works or not. But he does, he asks you 5 questions, and you just blurt out the answer. So we're going to see if this works, okay? So you just blurt out what you think it is. So you get a choice. It's either or the other one. If you like it, if you don't like it. So sometimes you might like both. So here we go. So the first one is hamburgers or tacos?
Hamburgers.
Tacos.
Yay, tacos. I'm a taco girl too.
We had Taco Tuesday today. Taco Tuesday.
Look, I'm gonna be making some as soon as I get off of here. That's how come it's on the list, because I'm hungry. Emails or letters?
Emails.
Oh, wow. Letters have gone by the wayside. iPads or laptops?
Laptop.
Did you say the same thing, MJ?
Yes, laptops for sure.
Laptops for sure. Okay.
All the way.
Books or ebooks?
Books.
Book ladies. Okay.
Books.
The last one. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Tea.
Who said tea?
Tea. I love tea. I don't drink coffee.
You don't drink coffee? Oh, my goodness. We are kindred spirits. Tacos and tea. Hey. I threw the tea in there because I'm my virtual tea stuff. So I was like, hey, let's see who likes coffee and tea. Okay. That was fun. Okay, I'm gonna have to steal his little idea. I love that. That was fun.
That's cute.
All right,
Yeah,
right.
Really cute.
Okay, ladies. So how can our listeners get in touch with you online? How can they keep in touch with you?
All right, Qiana Davis. Qiana, QIANAC Davis.com is my website. On Instagram, I am at The Teacher Wife. And on Facebook, I am Qiana Davis. Qiana Davis on Facebook.
And for MJ, I'm on Instagram at Badass Black Girl Books.
Did you say Badass Black Girl Book? Is that what you said? Yeah. I love that. I love it. All right. I want to thank our guests for sharing with us today. Please, listeners, go check them out. They got some good stuff going on with them. I hope what they shared with you was helpful for today. I want to thank our sponsor, Using Canva for Book Promotion Video Series. Check the show notes for the link to purchase. I want to thank you, our listeners, for taking time to listen to the podcast. I have 3 questions for you. Did you enjoy this episode? Subscribe to the platform you're listening to so you don't miss an episode. What did you think about this episode? Tell us by writing a review on the platform you're listening to or send to onesormag@gmail.com. Did you learn something from this episode? If you did, please share the podcast with your community. Would you like to be a guest for an episode? Contact me at onesormag@gmail.com. One last question. Have you promoted your book or business today? If you haven't, go showcase those wings. Someone needs what you have to offer. This is LaShaunda Hoffman, and I will see you on the net.